everyone, Zeddy here with our final Titans card review of the day. Nine more cards, not just one, not just two. 9 cards have been revealed on the Hearthstone Discord. A lot of Forge cards, all neutrals, and there's one tutor card out there that I think if you're running Fizzle, you might just want to run this card. It's pretty good, and well, if you want to win these cards, all you have to do to enter that giveaway, where we're giving away 2 regular pre-orders, 2 mega bundles out of my pocket, like and comment the video description below. We are just 400 subs away from unlocking that next mega bundle, so hit that sub button, make me go broke. So, well, let's take a look at those 9 new cards. Starting off, we have Watcher of the Sunny, 2 mana, 2/3 neutral minion, battle cry. You gain a holy or get a random holy spell. That could be the Sunwell, which could give even more random. But, you know, it could be a paladin spell, a priest spell. I don't know what other classes have holy spells, but those are the ones that come off the top of my head. And there's the added benefit. If you decide to forge this card, and forge means you basically put it into your deck, it gets forged, upgraded, it is immediately added back to your hand, and then you can play it with its upgraded ability, which also restores 6 health to your hero. Does not seem like a 4 mana investment to me. This feels like play this on curve, get a random holy spell. I mean, if you're playing Ignis, if you forge this card, then Ignis is up, right? You don't even have to play the card. As long as you forged a card, Ignis is available. So that's to be considered, but I feel like there's going to be better options for that. Feels very much like an arena card. Getting a random spell, always really good in arena. Holy spell makes it a bit more refined. Again, the Sunwell exists. That's pretty disgusting. But in terms of a ladder card, even for healing, there's typically better options, and it can only be used to your hero. Can't even target a minion. As a result, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 in Standard and Wild. I don't see this seeing relevant ladder play, but, you know, if you really need Forge cards, maybe you will consider it. We have the Mechanome Guide, a 4 mana, 3/4 mech, another Forge card here. Battle Cry, discover a spell. So quite expensive for that effect, right? That's typically attached to like what, 2 or 3 mana, Venomous Scorpion or a 2-drop, something like that. And it doesn't get premium stats. It's a 3/4 mech, which is also pretty bad. Of course, there's mech synergies. You can magneticize on it, discount and all that. However, if you forge it, so again, invest 2 mana to upgrade the card, the spell will cost 3 less. I'm assuming it's applying the mana cheat to the spell and not to the card. That is my assumption, and that makes it a lot better, but you're still spending 6 mana on that whole thing, right? Like, that doesn't seem great, unless of course the card itself is just 1 mana. And looking at the actual artwork, I don't have it loaded here. Yes, the spell will cost 3 less. That is a lot of mana investment just to get a discounted spell. I used 6 mana to play a 3/4 and get a spell that costs 3 less. That seems absolutely terrible to me, unless I'm totally missing something here. I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 5 in Standard, a 1 out of 5 in Wild. However, in Arena, again, any card that discovers a spell or does anything like that in Arena, it's just a playable card, and you can at least play it, you know, in Arena. So there is that. Next, we have XB488 Disposal Bot, a 5 mana, 3/2 mech. That is terrible stats. However, his Battle Cry, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemy minions. If you forge this, you gain lifesteal. So again, to forge, you gotta spend 2 mana to upgrade this. You spend 2 mana, so 7 mana total. Like, you could set it up, right? Like, you don't have 2 mana to spend early, which if you're doing that, you're probably dying. And then you're playing this, and you deal 5 damage, you heal for 5. That's nice, but it's really slow, not reliable, and just seems utterly terrible. I just feel like the investment on Forge is a lot. And again, this is a card that, I mean, you can discount. It's a mech. There is that possibility. But again, without the Forge, without the lifesteal, I don't know. Again, just seems kind of bad. And let's say your opponent, for some reason, is not very board based. It only hits minions, can't even go face, you know, rogue, maybe with like Shadow Step and things like that. They have a way to heal now. There's that. But they have to play this card and forge it and all that. Again, I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5 in Standard and Wild. I'm really not sold on the Forge cards for the mana investment they require. the poor stat lines and a battle cry that there's a 3-mana 4/3 mech right now for Rogue that's combo that deals what, 4 or 5 damage to minions that doesn't have lifesteal. It just seems like a mana too much. Maybe at 4 I'd be more sold, but at 5 seems relatively unplayable. We have the Containment Unit, a 7-mana 6/6 mech with magnetic, so this can be randomly generated off that new neutral legendary. Death Rattle, summon a random 8-cost minion. That could be a Ragnaros, that could be Illidari Inquisitor. It cannot be a Titan, because those can't be generated that way, but you can get some big stuff, and you can just slap this on to another mech and push 6 additional damage possibly. Very slow, incredibly slow in standard and all that. I don't know if I said a 6/8. I meant 6/6 stats if I misread. I do that all the time. An old man who just sees things. I see an 8, I might have said 8. Maybe I said 6/6. I don't know, but I'm correcting myself, even if I did need to correct myself. But regardless, it's really slow. There are ways, of course, to cheat it out, but not that much. Even in Wild, where there's like, you know, Mech Warp or Galvanizer, you don't want to hit a 7-cost minion. So to me, again, probably an arena card, probably not going to see play, but there's a bit more validity to it in standard. Well, I'll give it a 2, possibly. Maybe those Death Rattle decks are slow enough, or the mech decks are slow enough. Particular Rogue looks like if it's Titan to 6, maybe you do want to run that 7-mana minion, right? It's a possibility. So Rogue might use this, maybe. I'll give it a 2 in standard, a 1 in Wild, but again, not exactly very fast in the most direct payoff. This card I do think we'll see play, though. They're not all bad cards. Sharp-Eyed Seeker, a 3-mana 3/3 beast battle cry. If there is a deck, if there's a card in your deck that didn't start there, draw it. So you play Fizzle, you get that 1 snapshot in your deck, and that's the only card that didn't start in your deck. You'll draw it. In Wild, with the Priest questline, Seek Guidance, you can draw your shard, win the game, right? Tutor cards like this have always seen play in some way. Like, it's a 3-drop that could tutor a specific card that you might really want to get, and for that reason, I think it'll see play in some decks, in some fashion, in both standard and Wild. There's going to be a reason to play this card, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in both formats. It's relatively safe to say that, yeah, you draw that specific card, or maybe you're playing just like that Baron Rivendare style of card and you want to start drawing out your 6/6s and all that, right? You get a couple of those pieces out. There's other type of cards, or you're facing a bomb warrior and you just want to bomb yourself because you're masochist. You want to bomb yourself and you just play this card. That's an option. Is it a good one? No, but it's there. So there you go. You could draw some bombs. So yeah, Sharp-Eyed Seeker, absolutely, I think we'll see some play. We have Time Lost Protodrike. When you draw this, sorry, a 4-mana 4/5 dragon, so Yeti crying in the corner, 4-mana 4/5 dragon with Taunt. When you draw this, add a random dragon to your hand. The power creep is pretty funny, eh? We went from a 4-mana 4/5 Yeti, which saw play back in Classic, it did. We had a 4/5 Amalgam with Taunt, and now we have a 4/5 dragon with Taunt that adds a random dragon to your hand, and it's still probably not going to be a ladder card. Like, it just isn't that, like, it's just not good enough for ladder. It's got to be synergistic. It's got to do something other than just be a body random value in Taunt in today's game. Not bad, but if you have this in your opening hand, you don't get that random dragon, right? You have to draw into it. If you Finley into this, you should not get the card because that swaps, not draws. So same with like a Secret Passage style of card would not work, but 2 out of 5 in standard, 1 out of 5 in Wild. Like a 5-star arena card though, you're gonna love this in arena. Get a random Ysera, a random Alexstrasza. That could be really sick. But overall, I just don't see it being possibly good enough for ladder. And then we have the Melted Maker, a 3-mana 3/3 elemental. After you forge a card, get a copy of it. So this is an ongoing effect. This is on the board. You forge the card. You don't have to play the forged card. You just forge it. You can get more of them. So there could be combo potential with it. Greed, obviously, potential with it. These style of cards rarely see play where you're just getting like value, and it's quite expensive, right? You have to play the forge card. That's 5 minimum. That is some interesting word. 5 mana minimum. I got mana on the mind, and unless you've discounted in some way, I just don't see this seeing play. I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 in standard and wild. It's not like Voon, which was terrible at the beginning, that went to 3 and has an immediate battle cry and adding stuff to your hand, right? Like, I just don't see it happening. So again, 1 out of 5 in wild and standard, and we still have a couple more cards here. Sorry, I skipped ahead. We'll go back to the last card I just skipped, but we have the InventoMatic, a 2 mana mech. Whenever you magnetize a minion, give it +1/+1. So 2 mana 2/3 mech. So basically, yeah, you snowball more with your magneticizes. It's a mech itself. You could just play it as a body. Might be a fringe consideration. There's not a lot of cheap mechs, like not a lot of great ones, and this is premium statted. It might just be that vanilla mech you just throw into your mech deck just to give yourself some board, and you have a bunch of magneticized cards that gain that benefit from those stat boosts. I could see it seeing playing standard wild. It's not sexy, it's not amazing, but it's stats and it can snowball, and that's what mech decks want to do, right? And it's very easy to cheat out for 1 or maybe 0 mana as well, even in standard. I'll give this a 3 out of 5 in both formats. I don't think it's winning games, but I do think it is a solid card. And the one we skipped over, another power creeped Yeti, the Careless Mechanic, a 3 mana 4/5 neutral minion, no tribe, nothing like that, and you can just play it. However, after you draw your second card in a turn, destroy this. So this card's just a 3 mana 4/5 unless you've drawn extra cards, or your opponent Cold Light oracles you, because it is on your turn too, or their turn, right? In any turn. So you got to be aware of that. But if you're just a curve aggro deck that doesn't run necessarily a lot of draw, like an Unholy Death Knight, maybe you run this, right? They only really draw with like Magatha, and you could set that up to, not be that big a deal. And that seems decent. Is it worth playing? This will be a real test to see if just a basic 3 mana Yeti will see play in a curve deck, because most curve decks don't draw that much unless they really set up that turn. So I'll give it a 3. It's just stupid stats early, and I could see those type of decks running it. Same within wild. I'll give it a 3. Like an Odd Paladin, they don't, necessarily draw a lot of cards, or decks like that, odd aggro decks maybe, but they're not super popular, and you probably just want to do recruit strategies anyways. But a 3 mana Yeti with minimal downside, that's got to have some potential, right? So that's 9 cards. Let me know what you think about them. Mostly filler stuff. That's why they kind of card dumped it in the Discord, but still, they're cards. We rate them. Let me know what you think about in the comments below. And also, Manimum. That's got to be a new meme, right? If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.